I think it's time we all played the quiet game. Do you remember the quiet game? Who could be the quietest? Ready? Go. I lose. I lose. Who can be the most humble? Who can be the humblest? Ready? Go. What would that even look like? I know it's kind of an oxymoron, but we want to compete for humility. I think that would help us a lot right now. So, how would we even begin to do that? How's the humility game played? What are the rules? Well, I think of like with a sonnet. I love I love a sonnet because its its governing rules allow for a focus of expression. It's versus having just a flurry of words and emotion flying out. It forces the author, the expressor, to refine those things into the heart of what he is trying or she is desiring to express, so that it's not only refined but then also more readily understood. It's an agreed upon form of communication, an agreed upon set of rules. So humility is restraining oneself under certain rules. That's not all that it is, but it involves that. So what would the rules for this, our interaction, be? Or the rules for society? Societal expression and interaction. Well, we've got legal governing laws that we should humbly submit to, versus the flurry expression that of anarchy. But it's beyond the legal. What about the rules of wisdom? What is it to be wise? Wisdom says in Proverbs 1, verse 20, wisdom shouts in the street. She lifts her voice in the square. At the head of the noisy streets, she cries out at the entrance of the gates. In the city, she utters her sayings. How long, O naive ones, will you love being simple-minded? And scoffers delight themselves in scoffing, and fools hate knowledge. Turn to my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit on you. I'll make my words known to you. What is it to be wise? How do we know if we're simple-minded? My rule of thumb is, how could I know? If my mind is the discerning property of, and if that is what's sick, how does it know if it's simple? It can't diagnose that. So it's best just to assume that I am right off the get-go. So assume that we are, and allow another to raise us up. But let's just assume, for me, I will assume that there's just a ton that I don't know. That I am simple, and I need to tune my ear to wisdom calling aloud in the streets, because I'm so often a mess, and in ways I can't possibly perceive. So humility, laying ourselves under not just legal expectation of rules, but the rules that would guide us to wisdom, and wisdom's call, wisdom's words, taking up that goad upon our shoulders. Humility leads us to wisdom. It's a prerequisite to wisdom. More of wisdom, some of the rules of wisdom might be, in Proverbs, I love it, says, a fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise holds it back. It talks about that it's better to conquer one's own spirit or heart than to conquer a city, showing the difficulty of doing that. Because everything about you pulls at your heart and emotions. You want to give. It's natural to want to give full vent. Proverbs also tells us that not to answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. And it also says, do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him. So it shows us the tension of there should be some sort of response, but take care, because it's easy to quickly in the midst of that conversation realize you have become the very thing that you're trying to to lead someone out of. Or we can look in the New Testament and see in 1 Peter 3:15-16, always be ready to give an answer for the hope that we have within us. Let me just read that, actually. It says, but sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts. Always be ready to make a defense to everyone who asks you to give an account for the hope that is in you, yet with gentleness and reverence. And keep a good conscience, so that in the thing in which you are slandered, those who revile your good behavior in Christ will be put to shame. And it goes on in more important words, but sanctify Christ as Lord. Christ is holy in your heart. Always be prepared to give an answer. Rule number 3, with gentleness and reverence. And the result, maybe another rule, to be with good behavior, so that your good behavior, if someone continues to slander you, would have the corrective of bringing shame to them when they see your consistent good behavior. So if these are rules to wisdom, and wisdom is found through humility, if we follow that route, then we can express ourselves and with freedom within these rules. If this is the sonnet, the 3 quatrains and then a couplet at the end, maybe following the iambic pentameter, I don't know, is that meter or whatever it is, and then maybe the rhyme scheme of A B, C D C D, E F G G, the Shakespearean sonnet. But everything within that, then it allows you the freedom of expression, freedom within the rules, clarity, focus, more readily understood. But it's all under the regarding Christ, sanctifying Christ as holy. Be prepared. Understand what you're talking about. Gentleness, reverence. And of course, this is in relation to the gospel. And then we take that principle and apply it to anything else. But look, we all need one another. Okay? We need each other, because without one another, we miss a necessary corrective function. In driving a car, you're continually making little adjustments on the way. In SpaceX that was just launched, they had more than one person in there. They have a whole group of people back home monitoring everything. The more complex it gets, the more corrective eyes we need. A network of people. Bitcoin, we have a decentralized network relying on multiple independent confirmations for every transaction. Yes, this is true. Yes, this is true. So, we be free, but before that, be wise. And to arrive there, be humble. And undergirding it all, be loving. So be active in love, humility, wisdom, then freedom. But above all, be active in love. Love God, love one another. And I'll see you all on the next video.